Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us today. My name is Gary Ford, and I'm president here at DoubleRadius. Before we get started, I just want to take a minute to introduce DoubleRadius to those who might be new to us. We're actually celebrating our 20th year in the wireless business. We're a full-service, value-added distributor that became employee-owned in 2018. We have 3 warehouses: Charlotte, North Carolina, Salt Lake City, Utah, and just outside Toronto, Canada. In our full service distribution model, we have financing programs, technical services, training, integration, repair, and a formalized reseller program. So many of you we know, and we're excited you're on today, and I just wanted to review who we were and what we were about. As always, our goal in these webinars is to give you the tools to build a better network. We're excited to host Telrad Networks as they present today on the topic of delivering LTE and CBRS service. Making the presentation today and hosting it is Alex Freilichman at Telrad. Alex has been in the business 20 years. He has wireless, fixed wireless, LTE, CBRS, Wi-Fi, WiMAX, microwave, millimeter wave experience. Alex is really a wonderful resource for us and a real asset to the industry. In his current role, he's VP of Sales at Telrad. So there's a couple things that I should mention. First, as we go through, enter your questions into the question box. Do it real time, don't wait. We'll get to them and queue them up throughout the webinar. And second, after the webinar, a survey will pop up. We really appreciate your feedback, not only on the effectiveness of the webinar, but how what you thought of the content and how you will use it going forward. It's really important how we move forward in our webinar presentations. With that, I'll hand it over to Alex to get us started.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate the introduction. Couple of house cleaning items. We are doing a raffle at the end of the event. There are going to be a survey for a chance to win a $25 gift card. So please stick to the end. We like to make the events interactive. So don't be shy, ask questions. All lines are muted. So send them through the text, and in the process, we're going to have folks from DoubleRadius chat kind of breaking in and asking questions to make sure that we are efficient with your time and useful and informative. Now, on that note, there are going to be a couple polls. We will try to calibrate our messaging to the group. So we're going to run 2 polls to survey the attendance, so we could better calibrate the messaging.
All right, here we go. What services does your company provide? Please check all that apply. Residential, commercial, and private networks, Alex, are the big part of it, with a nice group of video surveillance in there as well. And we have a second poll. This is testing our pollness. Which best describes your interest in LTE and CBRS? Already deployed and planning to expand, working on an initial deployment, uncertain, not planning to deploy, or other. Just a couple more seconds. Get a nice selection of people. I think this is going to give us what we need, Alex. All right, let's see what we got. We have already deployed about a third, working and uncertain. I guess that'd be a 1/6, and other in 33%. Alex, I think that gives you plenty to dive into.
Awesome. Thank you, Gary. I appreciate you running the polls. Good news to know. I mean, it's good to know that a third of the people on the webinar have already deployed CBRS, so they have something to compare and contrast. I'm sure some of them will have Telrad, and as well as some of our competitors and friendlies. What I would like to do, I would like to have a quick overview about us, where we stand, where we differentiate. And again, as we're trying to make these events entertaining and informative, so don't be shy to to stop and shoot questions through the chat window. All right, so Telrad. Not many of you know that we're a 70-year-old company, a little over than 70 years old. We were established in 1951 in the state of Israel. Since its inception in 1948, always been in the telecom, mostly in telephony. In 2013, we went through the acquisition of Alvarian. That gave us a footprint into wireless space, and that's where we stayed until today. Telrad itself, we are a 1,500 people strong, spanned across multiple continents. We're quite a large organization, 6 sister companies specializing in a variety of different applications. Obviously, Telrad, us as a technology brand, technology arm of the family, we have sister companies that specialize in geodata, in data centers, in security. So as we are working and developing our existing and future products, we can always pull engineering from different aspects to make sure that we build a particular function set that is interesting, unique, and can help us differentiate from the competition. So just recently, we went through the acquisition of another very interesting company that went into our wireless family. It's Wave IP. So with that acquisition, we have inherited pretty strong public safety and military footprint. I can just talk about this technology on its own for an hour, but that's not the purpose of this presentation. Now, so where do you see Telrad mostly fit? And applications are everywhere. Obviously, the public and private enterprises, oil and gas, the healthcare, leased lines replacements. We have been building a very strong presence in smart cities, smart agri, and smart ag. CBRS became this very interesting vehicle that, you know, by unifying a band 48 across the United States, suddenly you find devices that just didn't make sense to make before, and now it's an LTE. So as long as it supports band 48, suddenly we can accommodate robotics and autonomous vehicles. Sky is the limit, so please don't be shy. If you feel it may have a fit, let's discuss. If it's the wrong technology, if we are the wrong guys, we will steer in the right direction. You know, we're team players for the industry, and we like to make sure that what we offer works well for many years, and that's how we earn the long-term customers. So where do you find Telrad in terms of product portfolio? So the way that I like to split the view so people will understand where we are, we have proprietary LTE. I'm sorry, we have a private LTE and we have a proprietary systems. And both of those technologies come in both flavors, licensed and unlicensed. So in LTE world, we have so-called 2.5 gigahertz, the band 41s. We have CBRS, and we have unlicensed 5 gigahertz. Not to mix some of the terminologies, we do have a proper LTE system in 5 gigahertz unlicensed frequency band, so supports pretty much from upper 5.8 to lower 5.1, excluding DFS channels. And on the proprietary side, this is the Wave IP acquisition that we recently went through, and it's a pretty phenomenal portfolio. Covers anything from lower 700 megahertz all the way to something like 11 gigahertz and it's available in both point-to-point and point-to-multipoint. So there's a lot of interesting pieces of the puzzle that we could provide to accommodate a complete network. CBRS, which is the purpose of this conversation. And again, just a quick reminder, as you guys, all lines are muted. Any questions, please feel free to shoot over the text. So what we try to do, we try to provide a visual reference, because as we talk to our customers and prospects, there is still, for some reasons, a great deal of confusion of what goes where PALs, where GAA, concept is not difficult. So what we try to do, we try to visualize it in more, I guess, easier to understood manner. So everybody's familiar with 365, the part 90, the 50 megahertz that we used to have. Now, CBRS added additional 100 megahertz below that. So CBRS comes in 3 tiers. You have the incumbent users, you have the priority access users, and then you have the general access. So the PAL are only priority access license, are only available in lower 100 megahertz. So, and they cannot take more than 70 megahertz total out of 100. So the way that I explain people is this: worst case scenario, you're gonna, if all PALs are taken in the geography, you're still gonna end up with 30 extra megahertz. So now we have 80 megahertz of spectrum to play with, and it's actually quite a bit, because the way that I look, LTE, what 20 megahertz carrier does, it gives you 100 megabits per second, up to 100 megabits per second capacity. So it's and the way that LTE measures 100 meg is different from non-LTE systems, proprietary or Wi-Fi systems. So you can accommodate, you can serve more customers. So so that's really about it. And so PALs can be anywhere within this 100 megahertz chunk. They may be contiguous blocks, they may be non-contiguous blocks, but they will not bleed into the upper 50 megahertz. Now, what happens when you are going for a grant? For a device to operate under CBRS, it's really a few-step process. You have to define the CBSD, you have to digitally sign it by CPI, you have to register, and request a grant. So this is where things get interesting. So you can define, you can register, you can sign, you can register, and you can ask for whatever amount of spectrum you need or more. So at the moment when you register the device, SAS administrators, they go through the interference calculations and they say, okay, this device needs 10 megahertz, 20 megahertz, 40 megahertz. So let's say, but you only use 20 out of 40. As a SAS administrator, they have to take into account that you are asking for full 40. So as more devices added in the same geography, suddenly they see less available spectrum. And the whole idea of CBRS is to be able to offer enough adequate, clean quality spectrum. And if every time you're grabbing more than you're actually using, SAS doesn't know it. They just accommodate it. So at some point, you exceed so to be able to densify enough spectrum, what SAS administrator is going to start doing is dropping the power down. So this is the one of those differentiators from Telrad from some of our competition and ideology, how we look at the spectrum. It has to be efficient use. Don't ask for more than you use. And where we differentiate from others is if there is a situation where you do need to request another grant for another channel, our software does it for you automatically. That is the big difference, because at the end of the day, it means we're all about service continuity and bandwidth quality. You have to have enough good quality bandwidth, and grant have to be there so you could continue provide internet to customers. So there are two ways for CBSD, for SaaS device, to receive a grant or communicate with SaaS administrator. Either directly, we call it embedded or built-in SaaS interface, or through domain proxy. Now, again, it's an ideological question. We chose for Telrad to use domain proxy method because of the couple reasons. First of all, we had tens of thousands of devices in the United States that predated CBRS. So out of all of our portfolio, out of 5 CPE models that we already were selling and shipping in the US, we had to really just decommission only one type, the one that was the oldest, the dual mode CPE, the CPE 7000, some of you familiar with. That was and it still was a very heavy lifting to make sure that we migrate our customers from 7000s to an alternative. But the idea with domain proxy was to be that vehicle that will carry us over from the old platform into the CBRS. Question one. Objective one. Objective two is to create a layer of logic to run CBRS. And that is actually a lot more interesting, because again, it boils down to how much time do you manage to run CBRS network? And those 33% of attendees here today can speak up their share of experience, how things are optimized, how long things take to move from one frequency to another, what happens if you chose to change SaaS administrator for whatever reasons. Managing CBRS network is not exactly a trivial task, and many of you may have tried, left with a bad taste, and walked away back into the unlicensed system. And we talk to many of these customers where we say, yes, we understand. We know there are some nuances. That's why we provide a piece of software that can help you mitigate some of those issues. So one of those nuances is when you run CBRS network. Let's say you are a customer, your network is located within the dynamic protection area, so coastal markets. And for whatever reasons, your grant is being suspended because of the incumbent activity somewhere in the ocean. Normally, SaaS basically comes back and says, okay, your grant is being suspended. You have to take that network or geography offline. What does it mean to you as a service provider? If you have a customer who's paying you money, as ironical as it sounds, to have internet, not to have internet, right? So, and now SaaS comes back and says, I need that grant, you no longer have it. So to you, it means it's a downtime. So now you have, what if it happens in the middle of the night? Are you gonna wake up your sysadmin and say, hey, go grab another frequency. We have 500 subscribers down, or we have 1,000 subscribers down. So that's a problem. So, but if we provide you a mechanism that can come in and say, okay, grant suspension, SaaS administrator, do I have an alternative grant to jump on or not? Yes, great, execute. So suddenly that particular portion of the network moves to another frequency, to another channel. What if SaaS administrator says, no, I don't, but you can try different channels? Suddenly you have an automation that does that too for you. Or SaaS administrator might come back and says, okay, I have a frequency at lower power. Now, what does lower power means to you as a service provider? Suddenly those edge customers might not necessarily be reachable anymore. So it's good, but not good enough. And you may still want to go and scan, find the next available frequency. What if all that is done for you automatically? So suddenly you take the group and you move it. So suddenly the hours long or 30 minutes long downtime that seems a indefinite venture becomes a matter of maybe minutes or 40 seconds. It depends how quickly things, how quickly grants will get approved. But suddenly you don't have to do all those manual work to move groups of CBSDs from one frequency to another. And we find it to be priceless because networks, it introduces the network stability, service continuity that I've been talking about nonstop, because service providers, you guys get paid to provide internet service, not the downtime. So what does domain proxy really introduces you? It introduces it addresses 5 main objectives. It offers the logic and automation to run the CBRS. It offers you flexible spectrum use. That's number 2. So, and I will talk about that in details on one of the later slides. It offers bandwidth quality. And what bandwidth quality means when I talk about bandwidth quality is, it's not about 100 meg, 50 meg, or 25 meg that you offer. It's about 10, 15, 20 meg quality. If video buffers, it doesn't matter how much bandwidth you're selling to your subscriber. They will call you and say, my internet is slow. They don't know the underlying technology, what's running. They don't know what's going on there. So bandwidth quality is imperative. And one of the services that I can't stop talking about is obviously service continuity. Downtime it's inevitable. It happens. The question is, can you minimize the downtime on your network? And all that is wrapped by the network management. It gives you a single plane, a single management interface that is unified between the network management, between the ACS and CBRS. So you can quickly and efficiently build your network, build the dependencies, build the automation to make sure that you don't spend time running LTE network, running CBRS, but concentrating on growing your network, building your business case, increasing your customer pool, increasing your ARPU by adding additional services that you can run on top of the LTE, and so on. So that's really the 5 big objectives of us providing the domain proxy. And it pays off. Last 2 years, we have, I don't want to say singularly, but concentrated on building domain proxy engine quite a lot, to say the least. If you look today at CBRS market, 80% of CBSDs is between us and a Cambium. And it's a good place to be. Next to Cambium, these guys are everybody knows Cambium. I'm pretty sure everybody has Cambium on their network. Phenomenal piece of hardware. I don't mind being on the same level. So it speaks volume for what it does to customer networks. Now, what I would like to do is this. So we have created few videos that go over some of the elements and optimizations that we have within our CBRS system. So I'm gonna take a minute to play them. It does have a background audio, so just make sure that it's not disturbing others or maybe loud. You can dance. This music is awesome. So I will see you on the other end. That's how long it took to import about 108 devices, sign them, receive a grant, and get them online. Few minutes. All right, so one of the big problem for PEL owners that run CBRS is, what if they want to use a mixed grant environment where PEL and GAA channels are next to each other, but not necessarily contiguous, right? So it actually becomes a big problem, because customers that are looking to get 100 megahertz of, 100 megabits of speeds of 100 megabits per second, they ultimately need 40 megahertz of spectrum. In Telrad's vision, we don't care where that 40 comes in. But in CBRS, the nuance is that some of it can be split between PEL and GAA. Now, in terms of LTE, it's not a problem. In terms of regulatory compliance, it's a big problem, because single grant cannot span across two types of frequency allocations. So what we have introduced a mixed grant capability, where each 20 megahertz can independently also be their own two grants on its own, where one is going to be sitting in the PEL territory, one will be sitting in GAA territory. So at that point, we really don't care if what's going on, which geography, which customer. We can simply accommodate every customer regardless of the mix and match of available spectrum within the GAA, within the CBRS. So next video, it shows you exactly what mixed granting does. It's quite simple, and again, available as one of the features. Yep, as easy as that. And one of the issues that we find within the CBRS world is installers. Guys are on the roof deploying CBSD, they need grant for CPE to transmit. Otherwise, every 5 minutes is going to go on and off. What we have introduced so-called an installer portal that gives a nice, it's mobile friendly. You can do it from mobile phone. You can do it through a tablet or a computer, doesn't matter. Remotely, they can enter all needed information for CBSD, request a grant, all in one step. Yep, as easy as that. So pretty cool features, everything there for our customers, for networks to be efficient, for network operators and installers to be efficient and with what they are doing to run the network and concentrate on building their customer base and improving their services, growing the networks, increasing their ARPUs versus running around there trying to figure out why this doesn't work, why this device is down, and so on. So again, quick reminder, please send your questions through the chat to make sure that we are able to answer them. Probably one of the more important part, we do not monetize off CBRS. We don't charge for it. It's if it's a customer that has our infrastructure, if it's a customer that has our customer premise equipment, and you already have a Breeze view running on your network, all of that CBRS functional is complementary. This is a big deal. So you will work directly with SaaS administrators on the financial side of it, $225 a month, and so on, whatever the arrangement you have. And we will support the complete feature set that these guys offer. Now, with the next slides, we want to talk a little bit more about end-to-end ownership and the value proposition. I'm going to pass the microphone to Jessica. This is going to be her first webinar in public. So, Jessica, take it from here.
Thank you, Alex. Hello, everyone. This is Jessica. I'd like to explain Telrad's single vendor ownership concept, and also would like to mention some key reasons why you choose Telrad. First is we take responsibility. We take ownership of the end-to-end LTE solution. We provide our customers a native and holistic view of the system. We don't shift blame to OEMs and technology partners. The compatibility and integration is done by us, so you wouldn't have to. LTE is a complex system, and it consists of multiple elements that require tight integration. We work with chipset manufacturers, OEMs, technology partners to marry these elements together to ensure a seamless and native interface and complete feature set. Think of it like a salad. You can put on the plate individual vegetables and spices and it'll taste okay. Or you can have a chef prepare a balanced dish that will make it taste amazing. The calorie intake is the same, but the experience is different. Telrad offers unique features. LTE is driven by 3GPP and has some great capability related to capacity in near and non-line of sight. However, LTE is also a native layer 3 transport, and missing some of the basic features that every WISP uses, such as layer 2 transparent bridge. LTE also does not have a built-in way to provide comprehensive view of user equipment signal quality. And knowing that, Telrad made those features available with our software to make sure that our customers can build a balanced wide area network, avoid double nating, and simply drop a public IP address at customer premises without any other third-party equipment. Time to market. Because we offer a complete end-to-end system, a service provider can bring a complete self-contained LTE node with IHSS. It's one of the ways LTE authenticates a user. It can take a couple of hours to get the first eNode B online and serving customers with quality bandwidth. From that point, growing a network can be done by using a configuration template to bring new devices online in just a matter of minutes. When we say no finger pointing, we mean we'll spare you from the frustration of blaming one entity over the other if the system goes haywire. As long as it's within the domain of our system, you'll just write a ticket through Zendesk and our engineers will help you fix it. It's very simple. We take ownership for our system from end to end, and we care for our customers. Telrad has a complete ecosystem. LTE system consists of 4 components: EPC, eNode B, user equipment, and management software, including ACS that runs it all. If you are running a CBRS system, we provide a phenomenal domain proxy software. All that is to ensure maximum uptime, more customers served per sector, highest sector capacity, and ensure the service quality and service continuity. And everything about Telrad technology is purpose-built. When we say it's purpose-built, we mean it. The system is built from the ground up with a sole intention and purpose of delivering quality bandwidth to users who may not necessarily be under perfect line of sight conditions, but a few miles away behind a foliage line or towers without equally distributed subscribers around it. We have implemented fairness and starvation protection algorithms that ensure peak sector capacity and maximum user throughput in real world, not just in a perfect lab environment. So these are the key reasons you would want to consider and choose Telrad. For more information, please visit our website at telrad.com or send us an email through sales-na@telrad.com. Back to you, Alex.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate it. Guys, whoever is joining the webinar, I would like you to send us a grade, how well Jessica did. This is her first event. She was practicing very well. So I would like to know 1 through 10. 1 is bad, 10 is good. Well, great. All right, now, interesting. Okay, now, on that note, we're coming towards the end. This is really it. I would like to pass the microphone back into DoubleRadius's corner. We appreciate, truly value and appreciate the partnership, the distributor and friendship and distributorship with Telrad. You guys being with us for a number of years. Very, very well versed with Telrad as a portfolio. Knowledgeable guys. So equipment on the shelf available to be shipped today. Any additional questions, you're welcome to send us offline. Please don't be shy. Gary, would you like to take it from here?
Yeah, we had a couple questions. And most importantly, I did an informal survey and Jessica got a 9.75 and you got a 9.3.
What can I say? I need to continue preparing.
Anyway, here's the first question. In the scenario of 2 WISP, which are competitors, co-located on the same tower or towers nearby, in the LT world, is it possible carrier aggregate both WISP to a CPE?
No.
Would this potentially double the throughput and possibly use the spectrum a little more efficiently?
So there is a concept called coordinated multipoint. This comes in from mobile world. We do not have that feature. However, what we do support, we support concept called neutral host, where a single infrastructure can serve both service providers independently. So a user traffic from service provider 1 gonna go to EPC 1. User traffic for service provider 2 will go to EPC 2. So think of it like in Wi-Fi world, you have SSIDs, right? Multiple SSIDs, but you're using exactly the same amount of frequency. So in LTE world, you can create different PLMNs. So on the air, you'll see service provider 1, service provider 2, except the traffic will be routed to individual users. However, I'm sorry, individual EPCs, individual service providers. However, what's important is on the air, you will use exactly the same amount of frequency, right? So you'll need 20 megahertz or 40 megahertz. One base station serves both. So we don't do coordinated multipoint, but we do offer MVNO style neutral host.
Okay. Second question, is the Telrad gear going to accommodate FCC auction 110 and 107?
Okay, so there is an auction that's coming in for 100 megahertz below 355. Our equipment today can go as low as 3.4 gigahertz. Compact base stations that we're shipping today in the United States, that everybody has, can support 300 megahertz of spectrum from 344 to 3.7. Now, I'm sorry, not 3400 to 3.7. Now, the problem is something else. The problem is power, because this lower 100 megahertz is probably going to go to higher power, and our base station is going to max out at 1 watt, exactly what it is today. We do have another product, Compact 3000 models that are 10 watt base stations, so-called high power. So it is, as long as there is a good business case, we don't mind pushing it through FCC certification. It's the same equipment that we've been shipping in Canada. So in theory, yes, we can support it. Regulatory compliance is a big question. It has to make sense in terms of business case and use case, because if you're going to collocate 1 watt base station next to 10 or 20 watt ELB, it's not going to work very well. It's just the noise is going to be too high. So there are other problems related to it. That's
great. Okay, good. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Remember to complete the survey. You get a chance to win a $25 gift card. Amazon, that'll be exciting. And Alex and Jessica, thank you very much. It was really helpful.
Thank you, Gary. Thank you to DoubleRadius team for organizing the event, and we look forward to working with you. Continue working with you guys.
All right. Thank you, everybody.